everybody, welcome to the Fire It Up with CJ show. Today we have Kamlesh Patel, and we are talking about this book that he co-wrote with Joshua Pollack. It's called The Heartfulness Way. So welcome. I wanted to find out first about the path that you're on, Raja Yoga, and you're the first person that I've ever met that focuses on Raja Yoga. Can you tell me what it is and how it works?
Well, in order to understand the what I call various branches of yoga, one of them is Raja Yoga. One has to understand what yoga is all about.
Mm.
Yoga is all about union with your higher self. And Raja Yoga is the path, one of the yoga, where we use the mind to reach out to this higher self. Hatha Yoga is very, I would say, famous in the Western world, where you are busy with the physical body. You have various asanas and yoga, as is commonly understood today, where they do exercise. With exercise, I think it has limited approach. Exercise is okay to maintain our good health so that we can practice to achieve the higher goal, which is to recognize this higher self, to be one with that higher self.
So, karma, bhakti, and I don't know how to pronounce. Is it Gyan?
Jnana
Jnana.
is knowledge,
Yeah. So jnana is knowledge, and then karma is action,
action,
and then bhakti is love,
devotion, right?
devotion, and love. And so those are the three components that make up Raja Yoga, as I
That's
understand it. Okay. And so what's interesting, I wanted to understand, I know it sounds ridiculous, but what does love and devotion mean in this context?
it's very simple. When you love someone, what do you do?
Well, I get devoted to them. That's what
Yeah.
happens.
And first and foremost thing that really happens when you just meet a person, for example, and oh, I love this person. As a result, you constantly think of that person. See, when this love just brims up in our heart automatically,
Mm,
then you cannot help yourself but constantly think of that person all the time.
mm-hmm,
So the sign of love is this, thinking all the time.
mm,
Again, you're bringing mind into the equation,
mm-hmm,
right? Now, when we talk of higher self and loving the higher self or the real self, or some people may say God, okay, fine. It's very esoteric and it's very indirect. How do I love God, whom I have never seen? How do I love my higher self, with which I'm not so really acquainted with? So we use the same logic. In mundane world, when we love someone, we start thinking. So we reverse the equation. We start thinking, and one day it becomes real love.
mm, mm. And your teacher, um, what's your experience with the lineage that you have in your teacher, and how do you feel that love within yourself? Is it still present every day in that way, even though your teacher has passed, your gurus have passed?
Yes. Well, I started first with the second guide of the system. Name was Ramchandra, and he was known as Babuji. Babuji. And I didn't meet him when I was initiated into this system.
Mm,
But a trainer, we call them preceptors, who are endowed with a similar capacity like the guide. So, and You see, this system has many trainers or preceptors he has created worldwide who can do the same job equally. You don't have to come to India, for example, to
Mm-hmm.
get initiated.
Mm-hmm.
So these trainers can do equally the same job. So this technique was known few centuries back, but it was lost to the world. And when it was reinvented, he wanted to make sure that this knowledge is not lost.
Mm-hmm.
So he started training people who could transmit this energy, right? Uh, I'm using the word energy just for an explanation, but there is something beyond energy,
Mm-hmm.
so, which we end up feeling when we meditate with a guide or with a trainer or the preceptor of the system.
Mm-hmm.
So, like that, I met my preceptor in 1976 when I was in college. I was studying pharmacy then. It was quite interesting. One of my friend who said, Kamlesh, why are you wasting your time every morning sitting quietly and meditating? I said, I love to meditate. And then he asked me a question, are you happy with what you're doing? I said, I'm not really happy because I'm just closing my eyes. And I don't know whether whether to call it meditation or just
Sleeping?
closing your eyes and sitting silently. Is it meditation? He said, no, you're wasting your life. I said, all right. So he said, let me take you to one lady. She will put you in trance right away. I said, why not? In those 1976, those days, going into trance and, just getting zombie-like state was a kind of, but I was not interested in this zombie state or trance state. Uh, hippie, those times were the hippie times, happy times.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let's try her out. So we went to her residence. He called her up and said, I'm bringing one friend of mine to start meditation. So we went. She was very receptive, and we had a lot of preliminary discussion. Okay, this is how we meditate, and she gave me the method. And she said, you sit in front of me. So I sat in front of her with closed eyes. Both of us sat together for, I think, over more than for half hour, I would say. But it just went off like just a brief moment in time. I was gone. Like, when
Mm-hmm.
I closed my eyes, and moment she said, please begin meditation, this flow of transmission came. I was lifted up from the ground as if I was levitating, see?
Mm.
And then tumbled up down, and then I was zoop gone. It's like, have you seen this Star Trek movies,
Yes.
where you say, um, beam me up.
Yeah, beam me up.
So I was at that moment absolutely dematerialized, and I don't know where I was. I was completely gone. Even the idea that I was gone was not there. I was totally
Wow.
zapped.
Wow.
And then after about half hour, she said, I told you to get up or open your eyes, but I would not. I was not there, kind of. She tapped me a few times, and then she herself started crying.
Oh.
She said she was so much touched by that very moment and the exchange that happened at that time. It was so delightful, and I felt that yes, I found my path.
Do you think?
Yes, and I didn't know anything about the guide at that time.
Yeah.
I thought she was my guide. But
Mm.
she said, no, I am just a preceptor. My guide is somebody who will be your guide. So
Mm.
I longed to meet that gentleman, Babuji, whom I met later in 1977, almost a year and a half later,
Mm.
during one of our, school breaks.
Mm. What was it like when you met Babaji? Did it feel any different than your original experience where you were beamed up into nothingness? Or did it feel different? What did it feel like when you met him?
I felt at home.
Mm.
I felt It was like a dream-like world. So, yeah, meeting him was like a dream.
Hmm.
You have to touch yourself. Is it really real? Yeah. Yeah.
Is it weird to think that you have that effect on people now?
That only they can say. Yeah, yeah. Some do feel that, and some do write long letters of. It has nothing to do with the person.
Mm.
And Babuji always said that the source is within you. I am only trying to awaken it so that you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's all. That is the job of a guide, to
Mm.
awaken the sleeping giant within you. And once it's awakened, you feel it and you're on your own.
And so, when you go and try to find a guide, in most cases, you see if they've had, what experience do you have? If I'm finding some type of guide to take me on a trip, I'll do all sorts of research. And you have, like in Seattle, I think you have hundreds of people already that are guides. Are all of them, if they are just tuning into the infinite source within themselves and then with you, does it matter which guide you pick? Like you had your own guide, the preceptor, is that what you called her?
Yes, yes.
Does it matter? Are they all the same? How?
All preceptors are same.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And how? A friend of mine was at Amazon where Joshua just presented, and he said, "What's the quality control?" He's a developer. And I said, I have
I
a
like
question.
that
I'm
one.
getting to talk to Kamlesh. What's your question? He's like, what's the quality control? What are they transmitting? Because there's a lot of, it's my understanding, and I don't know a ton, but my understanding is lineage and how clean the pipes are, all those types of things are factors when you're getting a transmission. Is it or is it not true?
To a great extent, it is true. It is true. But here, the trainers are chosen very selectively. They are taken to a certain spiritual height, and then from that level, they are able to transmit.
Okay. So they
Yeah?
have to, in some way, have a certain proficiency before
Yes.
they go. I mean, if I like am a mean spirited person who wants to suck everyone's energy, like you're not going to necessarily say, "Oh yes, you're a preceptor. Come join us in the other 100 heartfulness teacher." So there is some sort of proficiency that they have to demonstrate. Is that right?
That is true. But I think a lot depends on the guide, the main
Mm.
guide,
Mm-hmm.
how quickly he is able to take us to that level.
Mm.
And for that, our preparedness, our willingness should suffice. I don't know how cognizant are you with chakra system.
Yeah, I know chakra system.
You know chakra, right? Here with this system, we begin with this heart,
Mm-hmm.
right? We ignore the lower three chakras,
Mm-hmm.
which is basal, and then the Swadhisthana and this Manipur, which is the
Mm-hmm.
fire point.
Mm-hmm.
We ignore them in the beginning and immediately start with the heart. Now, heart, as traditionally understood, is only one chakra. But here we say it's not just one, it is like a constellation. Constellation is not one star, constellation is a group of stars,
Mm.
right? So the constellation of the heart chakra is made up of 5 points, 5 chakras, which represents panchabhutas or 5 elements, 5 basic elements: air, water, ether, fire, and earth, 5 of them, and which are sequentially present in this order.
Oh,
Heart
so
is
they're
here,
actually heart is here. Yep.
first one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Second is here, which is
Yeah.
Atma chakra or the soul point,
Uh-huh.
which is ether. Here is the fire chakra or Agni here.
Uh-huh. Oh, here,
Here
here.
is
Okay, got it. Yes. Got it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think with these images we are crisscrossing
Yeah,
each
we're
other.
crisscrossing. That's why. Okay, and then
Yeah.
there's this.
And exactly where your pendant is fifth.
Oh, here.
Yeah, exactly where your pendant is.
Oh, okay.
Okay. To make it very easy for you, I'll just say go 2 fingers below this nipple and 2 fingers above.
Okay.
So the first is here, second, and this is third. This is second,
Yeah.
fourth.
Okay, got it. Okay, yep. Okay, got it.
And then the
Okay.
fifth is
First,
the
second, third, fourth, fifth.
yeah. First is at the bottom.
First is on the bottom where my heart is, right? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly where
heart.
your tip of
Yeah.
the heart is. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
exactly.
this is where my heart is. Okay. And then
That's number one.
okay, one. Okay.
Its mirror image on this side is number two.
Yes. Okay.
And you flip the image up, the three and four.
Okay.
Three and four. Third is on the left side, just above the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth is above the second, and
Yeah.
then this forms a triangle. Okay.
All right. What am I supposed to do with this constellation?
Oh,
Now that I
good, good.
figure out these
It's
parts.
all right. So when we meditate, I don't know if you meditated. It looked like a lady who has meditated.
I do meditate.
Okay, good. So when you meditate, when we feel things, the experience of meditation in the heart, and when we move from one chakra to another chakra, this is called a spiritual journey
Mm,
when we move from one chakra to another. It also can be called as evolution.
mm, mm,
And when we move from heart chakra, which is one level of consciousness, and when you move to the second chakra, Atma chakra, or the soul point,
mm,
now you are having consciousness of that chakra.
mm, mm-hmm, mm,
So, and after all, what is human life and the purpose? It is to evolve.
mm-hmm,
And when we move from second to the third, you'll have another level of consciousness.
mm-hmm,
When you move to the fourth, you'll have a different level of consciousness.
mm,
To the fifth, you'll have another level of consciousness. And when you transcend all these things and come up to here, Agya Chakra,
mm-hmm.
and then you go further and up and you go Sahasradal Kamal or
Right,
SDK. You see, traditionally, this is the end of it, but with
right.
this heartfulness
I
system,
go back.
you go beyond this and up to the occipital
Oh, so it
area.
goes on the back here too. Okay.
Correct, correct, correct.
Oh, so it doesn't go this way, up 12 inches from the Swadhisthana or whatever. It goes back here.
Yeah, it goes back, yeah. And
Interesting.
then, of course, you see, when you are at the heart also, many a times you will not only see 1 foot above, but you will see your expansion,
Mm,
covering the entire universe sometimes. You'll feel so light and you feel so absorbed and you find yourself pervading everywhere. So you become so lighter.
yeah, it was funny when I sat down with Joshua, I felt like a sparkling. It was kind of a sparkling feeling, and then I could
Mhm.
feel something kind of here. So I missed the point. It's like I didn't hit one, two, three, four, five. I hit, another point.
But
Probably whatever this one here, the chakra there.
well, it takes a while before it takes sometimes a year, 2 years, 3 years before we cross all the five and then enter all this.
I
But
see. So the focus. So is it focusing when I went through the experience with Joshua? We were saying focusing on the feelings in your heart. So in the very beginning, am I to focus on the first chakra? Just
always
focusing
on the
there.
first.
Ah, okay, got it. Then when I feel like I can feel this first chakra, then I focus on the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Is that right in terms of where I'm
Yeah.
mapping out? And when I feel things, is it kind of I can feel a palpation in my heart, like a pulsing. So is
Hmm.
it feeling that in this specific spot?
You'll feel it, yes.
Yeah, and then you'll feel it. So you'll start feeling, if I
You'll have
concentrate
this.
long enough, I will feel that spot.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um,
I used to, earlier days, I would feel when my preceptor was working, and he said, "Oh, he worked." They would not talk and elaborate and say, "Oh, I worked here." They don't show off. It's up to you to feel it and make a note of it in the diary. See, and sometimes I would feel the work, spiritual work, going on all five at the same time.
mm,
That they would become like a red color dots.
mm.
I would just open up my shirt and show him, look, what have you done today to me? And he said, congratulations, your body is very sensitive. I said, good. But this is just at a physical level. Also, it can show some signs, some red dots or some vibrations, or sometimes a warm feeling, or sometimes very cool feeling, almost like a laser
Wow.
point
Oh, so it
this way.
literally was a red dot. You're not joking. There was a red dot where
Red,
there was.
actually, you could take a photograph, actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
You are very sensitive. Well, of course.
yeah, I was.
Um, so I wanted to ask a couple more questions before we go into meditation. So in the book, The Heartfulness Way, you talk about going inward and outward, uh, being simultaneously in creation and dissolution. And I understand conceptually, but I don't understand really what it means. I mean, I haven't felt the experiential sense of creating and at the same time being in my heart, dissolving something.
Well, I can put it this way in a very simple way. Um, let's say I was in New York for many years.
Mm-hmm.
You know. I started my pharmacy practice in Brooklyn, yeah, and where we started a pharmacy business. I would meditate in the morning at home, and naturally, after each meditation, you have a peculiar experience that you go through, and it is so profound that you don't want to lift your eyes away from it. You feel good about it and you hold on to it. You take breakfast and you say bye to your wife and children, and you go take a car out. There you are on the expressway, whereas on a bridge, and you know, and yet you are holding on to your inner experience. It's like you're savoring it.
Mm.
You are driving at the same time. You are so inwardly drawn into it. It's not disturbing kind of a thing. In fact, you are becoming very highly alert from inside. You're paying attention inward to absorb all that you felt in meditation. You go to the pharmacy and you're filling prescriptions with even greater alertness.
Mm. Mm. So
At the same
so
time,
you feel the feeling. So you may be like, I feel those five dots, and here's your prescription of
eh,
hydrocortisone.
yes, yes,
So you're feeling those two things simultaneously. So is that what you mean? So you're feeling
exactly.
both.
Yeah. You're busy with your inner self. You have such a profound, peaceful experience, right? When you're so peaceful inside and drawn and enjoying that calmness, that stillness inside you, at the same time you're interacting with your patients with so much of calmness and stillness. They love your silence, then see. Then they ask you, what is with you? We can't leave you from here.
All right, so let's pretend I'm one of your patients from Brooklyn. I don't have my prescription. You need to give it to me now. Oh my God, I have a headache, or my arm's bleeding. Help me, Kamlesh. Okay,
you
so how do
you
you
can
stay in this kind of, so someone's, you're in Brooklyn, New York, so all sorts of mayhem could be happening at you in Brooklyn, New York. So how do you stay here in your peace, serene, content place when someone's yelling at you or upset about a prescription? how do you manage that tension between chaos outside
It's
and
very easy. It's
yeah,
very,
for
it's very,
you?
I mean, it just happens to you. You become that.
How
It's
does,
very easy.
what does that mean to become that? Do you mean
When you experience something, see, we begin with a thought that there is divine light within me. Okay.
okay?
Then this thought becomes an experience. Okay. Now, however intense that feeling may be, however long lasting that experience may be, there is still some sort of discontentment until I become that very experience.
Hmm.
It's like loving someone and myself becoming love.
Hmm.
Then
Hmm.
I no longer am restricted to loving that person.
Hmm.
My nature becomes love.
Hmm.
That person has taught me how to love all. See?
Ah.
So when I have certain experience of, let's say, stillness or whatever, or peace or calmness, that becomes my second nature.
Hmm.
And if you cannot afford to drift away from it, you value it so much, you can't drift away. You can't allow little things to spoil you
Hmm. Hmm.
because you value it so much. But of course, before arriving at this state, there is I'm gaining it and I'm losing it. I'm gaining it and losing it, gaining it and losing it. And the time comes, there will be it will hold a permanent position in our life. Often I find that newcomers, new meditators who are meditating maybe a month or 2 months or 3 months, and they're meditating and they become more irritable in the beginning after meditation because they have experienced so much of peace and quiet inside, they cannot tolerate even slightest of disturbance outside.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like the calm, very peaceful pond. You're sitting just beside the pond. There's not even a wave, right? Imagine one drop of one leaf from a tree falling into that pond.
Right.
You'll see the ripples. Right? Okay. Now we have become calm at the cost of creating ripples.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
will create it. But along with the calmness, we also need to create the depth.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
In the oceans, even if you throw the stone in it, or even if you throw a whole boulder in it, or even if you throw the whole mountain in it,
Right.
it will be absorbed into deep ocean
Ah. Uh-huh.
without creating ripple. So
Hmm.
I, over the years of experience, I found that yes, calmness is good, but depth is also important.
Hmm.
And that happens only when we practice meditation.
Hmm.
And this practice should not be just for 10 minutes in the morning. Okay, good. I meditate for 10 minutes, but it must extend beyond those 10 minutes.
It's
Life
hard. It's
becomes,
hard. I've been trying. It's so
CJ,
hard.
if you meet Joshua again, tell him to give you a few sessions of meditation. And tell him to teach you everything, not just meditation, everything.
Okay. Is there a secret stash that he didn't teach me?
Well, he didn't explain to you everything, I suppose, because even for the expert meditators, I think it takes a while to get a grip of all the, very elements of the system.
Mm.
You
All
know.
right. So how would I meet someone like Joshua? Does one can one just find people and then ask them, or should I just ask Joshua to go through the
Well, this modern technology, how it helps us. www.heartfulness.org. It's
yeah,
good. And there you can request, oh, is there someone who is in my neighborhood?
right,
Maybe you have, maybe you don't.
right.
If you don't, then you can download one of the apps we
Okay.
call Let's Meditate app, or you can make a request via email that I am in Seattle, there is nobody in my neighborhood, and I like to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The beauty with this Let's Meditate app, Heartfulness Way, it will, once you log in and request that I like to meditate, and suppose you are in Vancouver, you're in Seattle, and there is no one there, but someone in India, like this, myself, or someone in Africa who is a trainer, and that person sees, oh, CJ Liu, she'd like to meditate, she's in Seattle. He'll ping and then say, okay, please start meditation. So he will transmit from there, wherever that trainer is, and you can just close your eyes for about 20 minutes or half hour, or that person on the other side, Africa or India, will ping you back and say, okay, now the meditation session is over. So that's when you open your eyes. And you'll go through this experience of transmission. The beauty of this meditation is it is only because of transmission that we are able to go deeper in meditation.
Mm. Mm.
Without this transmission, it is like any other meditation.
Well, can you try to do it online, and would people who are listening or watching be able to get the transmission if they were listening to it tomorrow, or does it have to be live?
Well, if you give me some timing that at 9:30 in the morning they would sit wherever they are,
Yeah.
I will sit here at that time and transmit.
Okay. All right. All right.
We can do that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you can say 100 of your, listeners, or they may not even want to give you the number, and why you want to go to the trouble of how many, but just request them, those who are interested in meditation with transmission. Tomorrow, you can make a general announcement tomorrow at 7:30, and at that time, I'll transmit from here and
Okay.
see. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
What time should we try? I'll make a general announcement. I'll have this video up probably in the next 12 hours, and the show is going to go live on Wednesday. So if you pick a time, we'll all be ready.
Well, okay, let's do it for 3 days. I'll be happy to do it. Thursday, Friday, no, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. Pick a time, and I'll get a group of people to basically sit, and then we're going to you'll tell us, or how will we know, or just meditate and know that you'll be there supporting us?
Yes, you just sit at 7:30 in the morning wherever you are
Okay.
with closed eyes.
Okay.
Just just um, I would say relax and pay your attention towards the heart,
Okay.
and just think that there is divine light already present in my heart, or the source of light is already within me. Right? So we'll do this for 3 times: Friday morning, Saturday morning, and Sunday morning, 7:30.
Okay. And am I concentrating on point one, or just concentrate generally in my heart?
Generally in your heart.
Okay.
It'll be better.
And it says
Because
in it's okay.
hmm? Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
So in the book, it suggests that before I go into prayer, that I say this prayer that says, before
Not
I go into
necessary
meditation.
in the beginning.
Yeah?
It's really not necessary when you want to experiment something like this.
Okay.
What you're offering is an experiment or experience to the world.
Okay. And
They
this,
need not offer a prayer. They need not even believe in God.
okay. All right.
It's
So they
okay
don't,
if you're an atheist too.
okay. But if they wanted to say the prayer, they would say, O Master, thou art the real goal of human life. We are yet but slaves of wishes, putting bar to our advancement. Thou art the only God empowered to bring us up to that stage. So,
That's right. That's right.
and we would say that a couple of times. Oh, can you lead
No,
us?
no,
Can you lead
only
us
once.
only
Only once.
once? Can you
Yes.
say it? Because probably me saying it is not as powerful as you saying it.
CJ, you just did it right.
I did it right. Okay.
Yeah, you just did perfect.
And then the cleansing, which you also suggest as part of this process, it has this beautiful graph.
Yes.
So that's where I'm imagining it says sit in a comfortable pose. Can you explain to me what this is since I only have this
Sure. Yeah,
picture?
yeah, what we do, this cleaning is done in the evening
Okay, at the end of the day to kind of
at the end of the day. When you want to get rid of all the garbage that you have collected during that time, right? Now, what is this garbage that you have collected, knowingly or unknowingly, willingly or unwillingly, right? We interact with people. We like certain things, we dislike certain things. So we get rid of it in the evening.
mm,
Before, what I would do as soon as I came home from pharmacy, I go straight to bathroom, take a shower, and then sit in my meditation room quietly with this prayerful suggestion that I sit quietly and then think that all the complexities and impurities that I have collected during that time is going away. Then I imagine from where it is going away. I imagine that it's going away from the backside, from the top of my head till the tailbone, right? How it is going away. Then I imagine that it is going away in the form of smoke.
mm-hmm.
Then okay, so this process is triggered now. See, it has begun or started. And then once the process has begun, you accelerate the process of getting rid of these impressions that we have collected. And after about 15, 20 minutes, you'll feel that, yes, now I feel very light.
Mm-hmm.
I feel simple. I feel purer from inside.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um,
And
right. And
the,
I'm a little bit spacey because I'm doing the exercise while you're talking about it, and now I feel so light that I've forgotten where I am. Okay, so in 15 to 20 minutes, you're imagining this smoke going away, being taken away, these impurities, thoughts, whatever. And
hmm.
then is that it, or is there in this thing I think it showed some type of beam of light coming in afterwards?
Yes, just when you feel that all complexities and impurities are gone and you feel lighter, that's when you think that some grace is descending from above or from front, or some special energy is entering your system, which is helping us completing this cleaning process. Right? And you see, when we remove something, it automatically leaves a vacuum behind.
Mm.
So we fill it with this divine grace.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of this cleaning, we make a suggestion that yes, now I have become purer and simpler,
Mm.
and it's fit enough to accommodate God.
Mm. Beautiful. So that's something I like that as a practice to do it's in some ways a form of meditation that you could do at the end of the day.
See, in meditation, what happens? We meditate with only one suggestion that there is divine presence in my heart,
Mm-hmm.
and we let go. Once we offer a prayer and we connect with the godly presence inside, and that's our job, and that's it. We focus our attention in the heart and we experience and we absorb that experience. We are more receptive during meditation,
Mm.
right? In cleaning, our mind is using the mind itself to get rid of the complexities and impurities.
Mm,
We are busy getting rid of things, but we are not going through the daily chores and say, okay, I did this, let me get rid of this. I'm doing this, let me get rid of this. No, if you remember things, then you'll only deepen them.
mm, mm. I see.
Like if you want to forget someone who has done wrong to you, and you say, okay, let me get rid of this fellow, or get rid of this person from my memory, or let me get rid of his impression. You're only deepening it.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So if you think about, so you're saying that when we go through this cleansing, we're kind of deepening the experience of
Letting go.
letting go of this stuff that we don't need, and then also radiating in that absence of that energy, light inside to fill that in. So it's kind of building the neuro pathway, so to speak, of making that happen over and
You
over
put it,
again.
you put it very nicely. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's so in some ways if we do this every evening, then perhaps during the day when someone's filling their prescription and yelling at me about their heart condition, I can I can kind of like let it go, allow love to wash over me and feel like I love you. I love you. I love you whoever is yelling at me. It's okay. You're yelling at me. It's okay. I see. So that's why the cleansing is so important, and the prayer is important just to kind of set up. Is that the devotional piece and
It
attitudinal
is.
piece?
I think this prayer. You know what happens in our usual prayer,
Yeah, we just say it rotely like a mechanical dummy.
but you ask for a lot of things in exchange.
Oh yeah, it's a negotiation.
Yes, yeah, you're busy. You're keeping God busy with, oh God, please help me with this. I need my car, and my husband is not listening to me, and my children are creating ruckus, and please make them all right, and so much.
It's a
We are
bunch of
busy
whining. We're just whining at God.
we become beggars when we offer prayer.
I see that. I can see that.
So here in with this prayer, we say we establish our goal.
Hmm.
You see, that perfection is my goal, that mastery, that godlyhood
Mm,
is my goal.
mm,
What is preventing me is my desires.
mm.
I want to get that, I want to get this. It is not that we don't fulfill our daily needs. We do that. So, and once we recognize that despite of having things, I'm still chasing after things, then that is detrimental.
Mhm. Mm.
But I'm not able to get away from it. I know this is not good for me, yet I'm after it.
Yeah, like a hot
This,
fudge sundae for me.
yeah. So
Yes.
that's why we say, God, please help me. You are the only God and power to help me come out of this state.
Okay.
So we are asking for His help. That
Mm.
without your help, I can't achieve your state.
Okay. Okay. O Master, thou art the real goal of human life. We are yet but slaves of wishes. I understand that now. Putting bar to our advancement. Yes, those are things getting in the way to our advancement. Thou art the only God empowered to bring us up to that stage. Okay, so I'm saying, God, it's not, it's really me and you, but it's really us together that thou art the only God empowered to bring us up to that stage of kind of understanding that we are one.
Mm. It's very simple. Once you
Yeah,
understand the whole meaning behind it, I mean, then afterward you can use any word you like.
right. Yeah,
What is important is how we put it.
yeah. I've heard
how
people
we
say things
express
like,
our
people saying things like, please free me from myself and my crazy monkey mind. That would probably be mine. Please free me from myself and my crazy monkey mind. Thou art the only God empowered to bring us, but it's the intention of, I'm not here whining and wishing and hoping and crying and hoping that you'll save me. Um, just please surrender me from these thoughts. Is that the idea?
yeah, yeah.
I love it. All right, so 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then you'll be at
Yes.
7:30 at
Friday,
night.
Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, I'm going to be there sitting on my cushion. I will say this prayer. I will do a cleansing the night before, and then we'll experience what it feels like. And we don't have to see you. Should we look at a picture of you or just
No, 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 not necessary. Don't imagine me either.
okay? All right. And then so I'm just going to be concentrating on my heart, feeling
on the
feeling.
on the presence of divine inside your heart, and that's it. Or just have an idea, you see, that there is a divine presence in my heart already.
Okay.
That's it. And the best thing is this: have an attitude. You may not use these words, but have an attitude that God, I really don't know who you are,
Right.
right? I and it is a fact. I haven't experienced you, and I like to experience your presence the way you are.
Mm.
You know, it's a simple, kind of an attitude towards God. CJ, is timing good? 7:30 in the morning, or is it going to be too early?
No, no, I think that's perfect. And then for how long should we plan on
Just
meditating?
half hour is good.
Okay, 7:30 to 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That would be 10:30 to 11 East Coast Standard Time, and 10:30 to no 9:30 to
They can be,
10.
I'm sorry, 7:30 local time wherever they are, Eastern time or Central time or the Western time.
7:30, no matter where they are.
No matter where they are.
Okay, you are a magician. It doesn't matter. Okay, so what will you be doing at 7:30 in India in the evening? Will you be meditating, or will you? It's like it doesn't matter. We'll just be thinking of you.
We will discuss all this later.
Okay. All right.
Because
Okay.
it is going to take really, uh, I'll have to explain to you a new theory on how to work in the future.
Okay. All right. So we'll do a new interview. Or are you saying a new interview, or you'll probably talk to me privately about this? Either way.
Yes, either way we'll do it. But
Okay.
try and see if your audience uh, can give us the feedback of their
Yeah, so at
experience.
7:30 in their time, 7:30 in the morning, meditate for a half an hour and report back to us what you find because you'll be
Yes,
doing an energetic transmission at that time.
at that time, right. That's perfect. From India.
Yes, from India on this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Oh, I love experimenting.
I love it too. I really love it too. I don't know, God sent you for spreading my heartfulness.
I'm
Hopefully.
grateful. This is my path, so I'm very happy to help you out in this. I'm going to close the interview, and I want to talk to you afterwards. But we've been talking to Kamlesh Patel about his book that he and his Joshua Pollock, his student, has shared about the Heartfulness way, and it's a series of interviews that Joshua asks such beautiful questions, and it captures your answers. So thank you so much, and thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Sid.
playing. I love playing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so I'll close. It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.